And, you know, I'm biased because this is my player. And, I mean, the pain of losing this game I have never seen by any other team. We were in the locker room, and players on the team were just laying on the floor sobbing. And in 10 minutes, when you play in an NCAA game, in 10 minutes, they open the doors for the press to come in. So, you know, here comes the USA Today reporters, AP reporters, and you're supposed to then, you know, answer these questions and be all, oh, okay. Our team was devastated. And so I kind of got up, they're crying. So I got up and I just, you know, I just said, okay, you know, you guys, you know, I don't even remember what I said. No one heard me. No one listened. You know, they're still crying. Jamila got up and said, pick your heads up. There was silence in that room. I was like, every kid's like just, she had command of that group, and she told them how much she loved playing with them, and it was incredible. And to me, that was leadership. You know, that she was as a freshman, she was captain of our team. I mean, she just had this presence where you had eye contact with her, and I just remember that, and I was like, whoa. So I think that as, you know, you have strengths and as young people, I think that some of it is when you're in situations really trusting yourself, you know, and not being put in situations that, you know, as a young person coming maybe into a corporation or whatever. I mean, someone made some really bad mistakes down in, you know, the Gulf of Mexico with this oil thing. Someone, all along the line, there were mistakes. And someone needed to stand up and say, hey, no, we need a safety valve here. We need this. You know, someone had to put the stop on that. And that's where I think, you know, young people, you're coming from Stanford, you have the opportunities to make some really valuable contributions. Yes. Can I come back to you because he hasn't answered the question? Yes, sir.
Early on in your career here, before you started to write the ship, what were some of the biggest obstacles on the recruiting trail? Because obviously, I'm sure you went to somebody's house, and the story that you heard was, well, we can't win it.
Right, right.
How do you attack that?
The question was, how do we early on recruit top players to a poor program? You know, I think, well, there were some players. As an example, there was one player that came. She was a great player. She was a high school All-American. She would have been a phenomenal player to come to Stanford. She came here, and I'm taking her around campus. She's going like this. I'm like, what are you looking for? She goes, the nerds. I'm like, oh boy, this is a problem. But she was just like, you can't get enough of players like me to win. And I said, you think God broke the mold on you? You know, I was like, we did run into that. But we were able to get enough good players. Jennifer Azzi, who liked, so I had to sell the challenge. I said, you know, you have an opportunity to be a difference maker. You have the challenge to come out here and put Stanford on the map, which she did, along with Sonia Henning, along with other, you know, and then it grew, and you know, and I took Jennifer into the Maples Pavilion. I said, you know, and we did not even pull out the bleachers across the way. You know, she was, I wasn't like totally forthcoming with her when I told her what we wanted to be. I didn't tell her how bad we were, and she kind of teases me about that. But we didn't even pull out the bleachers across the way, and I told her, I said, Jennifer, picture someone in each corner. We are going to fill this arena. And she remembers that, and I mean, and that, I guess, you know, and then she talked to other players. So getting someone that then brings other really great players to your program. I think that was it. And the fact that then when they got here, it was fun. The challenge was fun. You know, we're going to win the Pac-10. We're going to win a national championship. And we, you know, I thought this was pretty good. We, in Jennifer's, the first year, my first recruiting class had 2 Olympians in it, Jennifer Azzi, Katie Stedding, and they won a national championship. In their freshman year, they were 500. Men's volleyball was 3-25, these guys' freshman year. It's incredible. you know, how they turned it around. But a lot of it is a belief, you know, having a goal and not letting go of that, no matter what other people said. And honestly, we outworked people. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, definitely. Were these particular players, you know, high accolades in high school? Or
They were, but it was really different. Like, you didn't have the internet then. You didn't have all this scouting services then. You know, we had, it's really different now. I mean, we pay over $1,000 for a scouting service where, you know, people go out and watch all these kids play and they rank them, and, you know, we know the best sixth grader. You know, it's like you got to write to that sixth grader, and you got seventh and eighth graders already committing. It's crazy, but, you know. So that was different. Yes, sir.
When you or the other Stanford coaches have your performance appraisal players, supervisors, presumably the athletic director, what criteria do you think should be used?
When I have my coaching performance evaluated by our supervisor, what things should be evaluated? That's a great question. I am evaluated, and I think a big part of that is probably looking at the success of the team. And so what is success? Part of it is winning games. I think it's graduation, players graduating. I think it's players having a very positive experience at Stanford. It's having a diverse team, not just, you know, just being one or the other. It's, I would say, the support of the team from the community, people coming out and watching, you know, looking at tickets, players on the team giving back to the community, being active in the community. And probably a lot of it for women's basketball is, more so in women's basketball, is that players are happy, you know, that they really enjoy their experience. In men's sports, it's mostly money driven, I think. You know, if you have guys that are unhappy and the team is winning, they either go somewhere else or, you know, that's about it. But if the team is losing and they complain, then the coach might be gone. I think the other thing at Stanford might be really important is that you don't get in trouble with the NCAA, rules violations. You know, and there might be a breakdown of are you a strong administrator? They have, you know, budgeting, things like that, staying within your budget. But mostly I think it's that the players have a very positive experience. And I think that's important too.
Why don't we take one more question and then we can break and people can grab a bite to eat and give Tara a break.
All right. Does anyone have a pressing question?
I just have my hand up. So I was just curious your thoughts on the suggestion or proposal by Arne Duncan, the Secretary of Education in the Obama administration, to not let schools or teams who don't graduate some percentage of their athletes within 5 years not compete in the NCAA finals. That, I'm sure, wouldn't be a problem for Stanford, but do you think, just from a theoretical perspective, is the right thing to do?
That question, I don't know that I can do justice to answer. The question is about a proposal to limit NCAA participation based on graduation. I think it would have to go further than that. I mean, why don't these players graduate? A lot of them, they want to graduate. A lot of them just get passed along as young athletes. And I think in some ways you can't maybe, you know, just point out whether it's a college or a coach or an athletic department. It's the problem is much more systemic. And it goes back to the school systems and the programs all along the way. I don't know that would actually fix it, but I do think it is an issue that players are used basically for their athletic talent, and then when their eligibility or their, you know, a lot of them decide they're just not going to, you know, continue to play, but they have at least had the opportunity to go to school. And some of it is at a university giving the kind of support, life skills. A lot of the young players coming up need life skills. And again, it might not be quite applicable to Stanford, but life skill programs, tutoring, things like that, and not just putting money into things that won't help them graduate. It is a little bit different, but I don't know that is the answer. But I think it's good to be in the discussion.
Well, Tara, thank you
All right.
so much. This has been really inspiring, and
Thank you.
I've learned a ton. My lab is going to be different.
All right, how
tomorrow.
many people are going to come watch next year? Come to a game. And free tickets. Thanks for raising that hand. A little slow, but yeah, I'll get some tickets to John. We could have a graduate student game, and we'd love to have you come. So thank you all very much.
And please take one of our brochures over there, which lists some of the other programs and activities, just so you're aware of them. And thank you again, Tara.
All right, my pleasure.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.